very thankful to you, Reverend Sharpton, for your leadership, for your vision, for the work of the National Action Network. Thank you. You're doing such important work and bringing a voice to the people and the communities who are most underserved. I also am thankful to be here to honor the memory and the life and the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King. As we honor Dr. King today, we must look for ways to continue his fight to tackle the issues of systemic injustice and remove the callous indifference to the poor. Today we also focus our hopes and our prayers and our love and our support for the families in Haiti and for the many Haitian Americans who are here today wondering if their loved ones have even survived. I'm working with my office to do absolutely everything I can do to help those families who are trying to connect with their loved ones and to make sure that we bring to bear the kinds of resources that we need to help that suffering nation. 18 of my colleagues joined with me in the Senate on a letter to President Obama just the day after the earthquake hit, asking for temporary protective status for the Haitians here in this country. Now, what this status provides is the ability for these Haitians to live in America, continue living, continue working, because they do not have a home to go back to. I was very pleased that President Obama granted that temporary protection status late on Friday. As we work now to help the victims of this devastating earthquake, we have to understand that the people of Haiti have been suffering for years. We've seen the horrifying images from the television cameras. But when they turn off these cameras, we must not turn off our concern for these families. When the crews have left Haiti, we have to make sure that we do not leave Haiti behind again. In the words of Dr. King, history will have a record that the greatest tragedy of this period of social transition was not the strident clamor of bad people, but the appalling silence of good people. Hurricane Katrina destroyed the lower Ninth Ward. But that community had been ravaged with poverty, without attention by the government for years before that. The levees may have failed that week, but the government had failed for years. Just like Katrina, the devastation in Haiti did not happen in a day. We must make sure that places across our country, like the lower Ninth Ward, and places across this world, like Haiti, do not wait for another natural disaster to focus our attention. Dr. King worked to open society's closed eyes to the poor, and so must we. He understood that the least among us should be at the top of our priority list, not at the bottom. The truth is in plain sight, but it's shrouded in silence. Some just label them as the poor, not acknowledging lives blighted by poverty, surrounded by environmental degradation, held back by bad schools, stricken by crime, shut out of jobs, and stripped of the bright future that every child in America deserves. The challenge that Dr. King wrote is to lift our national policy from the quicksand of racial injustice to the solid rock of human dignity. This is my responsibility. This is your responsibility. This is our collective responsibility. We have to tear down the walls that limit opportunity and keep young people of color from achieving their God-given potential. At this time of immense hope and possibility that is best symbolized by our President Barack Obama, there is still inequality, injustice, and inaction that persists. We have to tear down these walls, just like they tore down the walls in Jericho. As Joshua and the Israelites found a wall blocking their entrance into Jericho and into the promised land, so have we. But we learn from scriptures that rather than surrender to despair, they turned to God and they turned to each other and they found hope. The hope to overcome. God instructed them to stand together and to march together. On the seventh day, he told them that they would hear the sound of the ram and they should speak with one voice. One voice. Working in coalition together, and they joined together and they brought down the wall that they faced, and we will do the same. When the horn sounded and the community cried out, the walls of Jericho came tumbling down. And just as the walls of Jericho came down, so too can the bitter divisions in our community come down as well. Walls of chronic underemployment can come down as we create economic opportunity in this community. Walls of healthcare disparities can come down as we provide affordable healthcare for every man, woman, and child, not just in this community, but in every community. Walls of failing schools must come down so that we can eradicate the achievement gap. Walls of violence must come down, and we must give opportunity to our children of education and service and mentoring. And the walls of environmental degradation must come down to a community where our asthma rates are higher than any other place in this country. The walls can come down. The walls will come down. The walls must come down. And they will come down as we all work together, just as God commanded the Israelites to do. We are all reminded of the life and the work of Dr. Martin Luther King. He reminds us of the power of coalition, of community, of churches, that if we come together and work together, we will overcome. We can not only bring down the modern walls of Jericho, but we can realize the dream that Dr. King shared with us. Thank you, Reverend Sharpton.